Have you here today and to endeavor going down this rabbit hole together. So how many of you have been to ERIE events? A couple of you. So for some of you, this is your first time. ERIE is a group that was formed originally as a student group here at California Institute of Integral Studies. It was born out of a conversation that took place amongst several students within an entheogenic shamanism course 2 years ago in the spring of 2012. And myself and Larry and Adrian, who's making the AV magic happen, and a couple other students found within that course that we were really inspired by the conversation that was happening, and we wanted to continue that conversation. And so we decided, well, let's just create a student group that will give us this forum for this continued dialogue. And so we came up with the acronym ERIE, which stands for Entheogenic Research, Integration, and Education, because we really wanted to hold ourselves accountable to encompassing all of these facets of the entheogenic dialogue. And we're very happy to have celebrated our second birthday just about a little over a week or so ago. So ERIE is now entering its third year of existence, which is very exciting. And for the past year or so, we've actually held an event just about every single month. So it's been really a wonderful opportunity to bring speakers together in the forums of education, have people presenting on their research, and also for a period of time we were facilitating integration groups, which were peer-facilitated conversations helping people to integrate transpersonal and or entheogenic experiences into their lives. And so we're just really thrilled to still be going strong and to be broadening our horizons as well. So we have a really wonderful lineup of amazing speakers here today, women from various traditions with varying degrees of experience and wisdom and knowledge, and I'm just very excited to be here with all of you today, and I hope that you will enjoy the day. We do have quite a long day. We'll be going till 9 p.m. We'll have some breaks along the way and have a little time to socialize and have some tea and enjoy some snacks over there. So please feel free to take good care of yourselves while you're here and each other. Our first speaker is Dr. Genesee, and she is a relatively recent graduate of CIIS. She received her doctorate in the clinical psychology program in 2012 and has had a long-time interest in the healing potential of entheogens. She did her dissertation research on the therapeutic value of MDMA and assisted psychotherapy, and has a private practice in Berkeley, and specializes in working with trauma and helping people to integrate peak experiences. We look forward to welcoming her here today. Let's give her a warm welcome. Come on up, Genesee. Great. Hello. Sure. Okay, thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Perfect. I'm glad that you responded. That actually is what I'm looking for here today. I'm wanting to have a little bit more of a conversation and less of a me talking at you experience. Okay. So I'll be talking about entheogens as a tool for cultivating what I've called divine wisdom, feminine ways of knowing, intuition. And we'll unpack that together in a moment. But first I wanted to suggest or propose maybe that we have a bit of a conversation, like I said. and that we all attempt together to try to get in touch with this phenomenon, this feminine knowing. And what I mean by that is that we try to speak from our personal and present experience. I'm going to try to do that today. In preparing for this talk, I didn't go about it in the way that I normally would. I didn't put together a PowerPoint. I didn't write out what I was going to say. I only vaguely thought about it, really. And every time I went to prepare, I found myself wanting to just sit and meditate and be with myself. And enter into this place, really get to know it, like get to know this thing that I'll be talking about. So maybe we can do a little bit of that together here today too. So like I said, I'm going to try to speak from personal and present experience, and maybe you all, if and when you feel inspired to contribute, can do the same. Can raise your hand and let me know and say something anytime something arises and feels relevant or important. Really being open to any feelings and sensations that are present for us. As Rumi says, welcome and entertain them all. And staying with the experience, as the phenomenologist Husserl says, go back to the things themselves. So that's what I'm proposing, and let's see how it goes. I'm going to start with something sort of experiential actually, and I'm going to read a poem to you that feels relevant, and ask that you all, as I do that, maybe close your eyes, maybe just glance down at the ground, center into yourself. First, do a scan of your body and notice what feelings and sensations are there. Ask yourself, what is present for me right now? What thoughts are passing through my mind? What feelings are moving through my body? What is my body experiencing? What sensations are there? Take a few deep breaths. And I'm going to read to you a poem by Rumi. And I ask that you just let the words float in and through. Don't try to understand it. Don't try to find any particular meaning in it. Just listen to it and let it sink in. Let it soak into you. It's called A Necessary Autumn Inside Each. You and I have spoken all these words, but as for the way we have to go, words are no preparation. There is no getting ready, other than grace. My faults have stayed hidden. One might call that a preparation. I have one small drop of knowing in my soul. Let it dissolve in your ocean. There are so many threats to it. Inside each of us, there's a continual autumn. Our leaves fall and are blown out over the water. A crow sits in the blackened limbs and talks about what's gone. Then your generosity returns. Spring, moisture, intelligence, the scent of hyacinth and rose and cypress. Joseph is back. And if you don't feel in yourself the freshness of Joseph, be Jacob. Weep and then smile. Don't pretend to know something you haven't experienced. There's a necessary dying, and then Jesus is breathing again. Very little grows on jagged rock. Be ground, be crumbled, so wildflowers will come up where you are. You've been stony for too many years. Try something different. Surrender. So now you might just notice what's there in your body again. What's there in your experience again. And come on back into the room as you feel ready. So, what is it that I'm talking about here? What is this feminine wisdom? And what are entheogens? You might have heard of the term entheogen since you're here at this conference, but I'll quickly tell you where the word comes from and what it means. So the derivative entheos, which is a Greek word, and it means full of God. It means inspired. And the gen part of it means generating. So it means to generate the divine within. And so this word for psychedelic substances, for mind-altering substances, is meant to express or convey the belief or the thought or the idea that these substances generate some sort of experience of divine within. And I wanted to build on that, to look at how does it do that and what is that experience of divine within. And I'm here proposing that divine within perhaps has a feminine nature to it. So why is that? And what do I mean by that? So I'm curious actually to hear from you for a moment. What does feminine wisdom mean to you? What are feminine ways of knowing? And I don't mean to say that this is what these exist in women and not in men. I think that we all have both feminine and masculine ways of knowing and being in the world. It's just sort of a way to maybe classify them or describe them. So if anyone has any thoughts on that, I'd really like to hear them. What are feminine ways of knowing to you? Yeah.
A couple of things come to mind, like intuition.
Intuition?
And imagination. Yeah, those are the two things.
Great, thank you. So intuition, imagination. What else? Nurturance.
The act of nurturing and caring and embracing and connecting and feminine energy.
Yeah.
That you can find within.
Yeah, so nurturance, caring, embracing. There's one more. Love. What else?
And then the receiving and channeling rather than generating.
Receiving, receptivity, channeling, rather than generating. Yeah, we could also define this as what is it not? What else? Yeah.
Unconditional presence.
Unconditional presence. Yeah. Yeah.
Dreaming, contemplation, what that might mean, our own interpretation of our experience.
Yeah. Dreaming, contemplation, our own interpretations of our experience.
Birthing.
Birthing. Yeah. Yeah. Insight. Mm-hmm.
Vulnerability.
Vulnerability. Yeah.
Think about the female aspect as the emotion or the feeling versus the thought or the contemplation, right? The experiencing through your feelings, through your essence.
Yeah. So the emotional experience, the experiencing, the feeling. Yeah.
I think the cyclical.
There's a cyclical nature to it too. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a lot. Unless anyone else has anything pressing. Yeah.
Yin.
Yin. Yeah, right. Yin as opposed to yin. Yep. Yeah. Okay, so I think you touched on a lot of the things that I thought about. Intuition being one of the first that came up in primary. As you describe intuition, perception via the unconscious. So there's maybe a unconscious aspect to it, or a way that it taps us into our unconscious. It's emotional, it's creative, receptive, maybe right brain versus left brain, subjective. Maybe there's a dark and a shadow aspect to it too. The feelings versus thoughts, heart versus mind. A level of surrender. And then there's many archetypes, goddesses, figures that represent this. I'll name just a few. Sarasvati, the Hindu goddess of spiritual wisdom and creativity, arts and music. Sophia, the Christian, biblical goddess of wisdom. Wisdom of God is what her name means. Prajnaparamita, the Buddhist goddess of transcendent wisdom. And the anima, I think, also might be a representation of this, Jung's description of the anima. Okay, so I think we have a pretty good idea of what we're talking about here. What about this question of how entheogens might help us to cultivate that? I can give you some thoughts.